Hi everyone, today I'm looking at the Lana Del Rey versus Radiohead plagiarism dispute in a little more detail, and asking the question, how similar are the two songs? I guess I'd like to try and give an insight into the sort of things that a musicologist or a copyright lawyer would be looking at. So when you copyright a song, you're copyrighting the way that the melody goes above the chords. And that's it. It's really music at its most stripped back form. You're not copyrighting the arrangement or the way that it sounds, the production. It's just the tune and the chords. And to be extra clear, you can't copyright just the chords. It is the tune and the chords together. Anyway, this is the intro to Creep, and I'm going to lay Lana's vocals on top of this. So you have Creep in your right ear, Lana in your left ear. Let's just listen. Hopefully you can hear that the two songs go pretty well together, and that's because they share a chord progression, which in this case is a pattern of 4 chords, each of which lasts for 8 beats before moving on to the next one. So it's a very regular pattern. But just because a song uses the same chord progression doesn't necessarily mean there's been plagiarism. And as I've said, you can't copyright a chord progression. So you can take any 4-chord pattern, no matter how many times it's been used before, and if you write your own melody on top of it, it's your own song. Which is great news for the people who use this chord pattern. Essentially, what this all boils down to is, if you're going to write a new song using old chords, then all you need to do is make sure your melody sounds different. So let's compare and contrast Lana's melody with Tom's. Okay, I'm going to stop it there, because when you write a new melody, you get to choose where that melody starts. Let's see where Lana starts. So pretty much at the same time and at the same pitch as Tom. Now Lana drags her vocal out a little longer. And you'll notice this continues throughout the whole verse. Each time Lana sings a phrase, she starts it before Tom and ends after him. So Lana's delivery is quite different. It's much more drawn out, while Tom's is quite clipped. So that's an obvious difference between the two, but there are also similarities. The melody is very similar both in terms of the notes that are being sung and the phrasing. Lana's verse is made of 4 separate phrases, each with a pause in between, and this mirrors Creep exactly. Have a listen again and I'll point out the phrases, the chord changes and the pauses. So there's the first phrase and the pause, then second phrase, chord change, pause, third phrase, chord change, pause, fourth phrase, chord change, and pause. It's as if she's following the same musical cues as Tom, and to me it actually sounds like someone who's trying to sing a song that they heard a long time ago and they don't really remember, which might not be too far from the truth. Anyway, let me show you what it would sound like if we tried to put a completely different tune on top of the same chords. So I'm going to deliberately use a tune that has different phrasing both melodically and rhythmically. For my first note, I'm going to come in after Tom and Lana. I'm going to come in on the beat. There. I'm also going to throw in a little pause before the second phrase. There. And this repeating motif of 3 descending notes, those 3 there, is quite independent of anything that Tom's doing in his vocals. And yes, before any of you freak out, that is the melody to the jazz standard, All of Me. So bringing this back to Lana's song, I guess what I'm saying is when you think about how different it could have been, you begin to realise just how similar it really is. That fourth phrase in particular is almost identical note for note. But hang on, if I'm saying the songs are so similar, why is it that they sound different? Why do some people think that actually it's not very similar at all? Musically, there are differences between them. I'd say there are three main things. Lana sings in a different key. She's a couple of notes higher than Tom. She sings in a different tempo. Her song is a little faster than Creep is, in terms of the number of beats per minute. And finally, and possibly most importantly, the instrumentation is completely different. Radiohead's song has a kind of edgy vibe to it. There's those harsh guitars and the drum beat, whereas Lana's song sounds a lot warmer, I guess, with synths and a much softer drum beat. But while the key, the tempo, and particularly the instrumentation of a song can make it sound very different to the listener, they're almost irrelevant when it comes to a copyright dispute. I'm now going to go into a long-winded explanation about why that is. Feel free to skip the next 2 minutes if you don't want to hear that, although there is a bit of Bohemian Rhapsody in there, so it can't be all bad. The thing is, if I play this, that's Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Well, no. I wrote that myself. This is Bohemian Rhapsody. Although you can hear a difference between the two, it's still clearly Bohemian Rhapsody, no matter how high or low I play it. And that's why the key doesn't matter in a musical plagiarism dispute. The same applies to tempo. It doesn't matter how slowly I play my song. Or how fast I play my song. It's still Bohemian Rhapsody. And finally, instrumentation. Now, I can change the vibe of my song quite drastically and quite literally by playing the whole thing on a vibraphone. Lovely, right? Now, imagine if you change out all the instruments on a song, you make it faster and you change the key. It can sound really quite different. But in musical copyright law, unless you're talking about the melody and the chords, well, nothing really matters. Anyway, look, that's the verse. We haven't even got to the chorus yet. But I'm and as you can hear, there are a lot of similarities there as well, but I don't want to make this the longest video in the world. And to be honest, if I did talk about the chorus, I would just be making the same points again. Anyway, this video is a little different to what I normally do on this channel, so I hope it was interesting and maybe gave you some insights. Don't worry, normal service will now resume. We will be going back to TV theme tunes and piano tutorials. So I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye! Thank you for watching. If you'd like more of this, please hit that big red subscribe button. We upload new UK TV themes every weekend.